Wash my fingers.
What is Sanfilippo Syndrome?
Sanfilippo Syndrome is
a rapidly degenerative, neurologic, autosomal recessive
a genetic disorder that affects 1 in every 70,000 to 100,000 kids. I tell someone and they don't know what it is.
Anybody that looks it up or tries to read about it, I mean, they'll end up in tears. It's gonna slow down Fiona's brain, deteriorate everything.
All the skills that normal people have, like walking and talking, eating, she'll lose all of it.
Basically slowly kill her.
If you get that rare two people that have the same recessive gene that match up, then you're going to get Sanfilippo. We always said we were soulmates.
What's Sanfilippo Syndrome?
Sanfilippo Syndrome sucks.
I said, let's go swimming! Let's go swimming! Yeah, let's go swimming!
I kind of say that right from the beginning, Fiona demanded a little extra attention. She was the toughest pregnancy. And then when she, there were a couple times where we were afraid she was coming early and ended up getting sent home. They did an amnio just to see if she was ready so they could trying to stop and just let it go if she was ready. And they said, no, her lungs weren't ready. And the next day I went into labor. She was born early, but she wasn't sick then. She could have been a sick baby right from the start, coming 7 weeks early. A lot of kids are in rough shape that come that early. She was big for her age, and she, other than needing a little bit of help keeping her airway open, she was in good shape. And then she was perfect for, 2 years. There was nothing. So it wasn't till she wasn't talking that we started saying, oh, well, every single thing that seemed off, we were able to explain away.
That's it, get him! Yeah, get him!
Everything was golden with her for a couple of years, and then it got to the point where she wasn't speaking at all. So we thought maybe something was wrong with her hearing, so a friend of mine was an audiologist, so we had her check the hearing. She said there were massive ear infections. Now, never had any signs of it. She didn't tug at her ears, never cried, never, nothing. We ended up doing a sleep study too, because we noticed when she was sleeping, we were holding her, she would stop breathing. And then you could literally count to 15 and before a breath would come in. And the sleep study showed that she had stopped breathing 51 times in 3 hours. So they kicked us out and said, we got to get her tonsils out, her adenoids out, we got to ENT for that, and tubes in her ears, because we couldn't get the infections under control. So we ended up going and get all that done, and that was right around 3.
Well, of course she wasn't talking, because she couldn't hear us. So we thought, well, when we get that fixed, then she'll talk. And so then she ended up in special ed preschool, purely because she was delayed in her speech.
After we went through a year of school, she plateaued off.
It wasn't making any difference. And that was when the teachers there started telling us, maybe we need to look into this more, because she should have made some progress by now. Even if she was at home, not doing any school, she should have advanced more than she's advanced. So that's when we really started to get concerned. It was speech. It was more behavior stuff than anything else. We couldn't potty train her. So,
and if you don't know what a geneticist does, they come in and they don't really even touch the kid for a while. They just look at you. Look at you, then they look at the kid, then they look back at you, then they look at the kid, then they look at the mom, look at the kid, and they're looking for any differences, anything going on with the ears, anything with the nose, anything with the eyebrows. It's really interesting to watch, actually, because they'll be like, well, it doesn't seem like it could be like that way.
It was all negative. So they said, come back in like 18 months if you haven't figured anything out.
Most of Fiona's facial features now, they weren't there back then. We thought, okay, well, she's good, but we're still going to keep her in special needs, still keep on searching and see if there's something else. We were just thinking that she was off.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Say bye, Mommy. We miss you.
The perfect life is what we were living for 10 years in Michigan.
I mean, there was our life from Michigan before I got sick, and then there's our life now. I really thought I had a kidney stone, but it seemed to never go away. And when we went and had a CAT scan and everything, there wasn't a kidney stone there, even though I had all the symptoms. And, I mean, months went by and the pain never got better. So I ended up spending over a week in hospital locally where we lived in Michigan, the hospital that I worked at. And when they couldn't figure it out, they recommended I either go to Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic. So I figured might as well go to Mayo. That's supposed to be the best for figuring stuff out when nobody else can. And they were the ones who diagnosed me with loin pain hematuria syndrome, which is just basically a rare kidney disorder that means your kidneys are functioning fine, but you have pain like a kidney stone, which either is persistent or kind of comes in waves, and you bleed a lot for no apparent reason. We said, well, at least it's nothing that's going to kill me. And then when we find out what Fiona's is, it's just like, okay, we should never have said that.
Ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Fiona. Happy birthday to you.
I want a big piece.
Hey, whoa. Look, put it down.
It's her birthday, let her eat it how she wants.
On this?
To good? We took her to lots of different specialists. We took her to neurology. We took her to orthopedics when she fell a couple times. We took her to PMNR, which is your physical medicine and rehab doctor, the physiatrist. He was the one that actually sent us back to genetics again to figure out why. He said, okay, the neurologist has said her brain is not your typical brain. Why? She's missing white brain matter. Why? Luckily, we found the right person, because that seems to be how everybody else has found out. They just happened to find the right doctor who said, I think it's a storage disorder. We need to rule that out. It always seems to be that they say, let's rule it out. Even our geneticist said, I'm going to have to get back to you. I mean, in our case, when we went to the second geneticist, it was the only thing they mentioned by name was Sanfilippo. And I think she passed over it so quickly, Randy didn't even hear her say it.
I didn't hear anything the first time we were there. Catriona swears she heard Sanfilippo muttered under her breath at that point. I didn't hear her say anything.
But I did, so as soon as she stepped out of the room, I was looking it up.
On the drive home, she Google searched it right away, and we read the first, paragraph and went, oh, hell no. And what we needed was a urine sample. Now, trying to get a urine sample from an 8-year-old that has never been potty trained is almost impossible. She ended up blowing out in a hernia right around that at 8 years old. We had to get surgery. We talked to the lady at surgery about doing a cath then and getting some, because we weren't going to cath her while she's awake. I mean, she's an 8-year-old, not understand what the hell you're doing. There's no way that's like torture. So got some urine then, sent it out, and when day after Thanksgiving, they said Sanfilippo Syndrome. And that's when we ended up getting another brain scan and found out that she's losing more white brain matter, losing gray brain matter, and her corpus callosum, which is like the line between the right and half hemisphere is thinning. So basically, Sanfilippo will now rob her of everything she's gained.
Saw the prognosis. Put it away. That can't be what it is. There's no way my daughter's going to die. It's just silly.
all about it.
There you go. Pretty potty trained. There's syndrome. We've tried multiple times.
Yeah.
Nothing where you saw like her lips turning blue,
We've seen her get like a little frothy,
a little frothy.
Yeah. Sometimes she will
The
foam
mouth.
a little bit.
but
Okay.
I haven't seen her have any evidence that she's like oxygen deprived.
Okay. When was the last one we had?
Last episode?
Yeah.
I want to say she's done a couple of weeks now. Where
Yeah, well, she had one
one.
about last week where they think she had one at school.
yeah,
She was out of school. She was on the playground and she got overheated, and then she got real blotchy and was off for a couple hours. So I'm thinking she had something at the school there. They texted me right away, and then they texted me about 2 hours. It's usually a couple hours where she just doesn't act right. You know, normally this is her. You know, 95% of the time she's very just like this, walking around happy and stuff like that, which we're very happy about. You know, but you can tell when she's off. You know, they think there's different.
Bugging you. Why don't you hold the phone so our heads try to stay one place because she's looking from it to you. There we go.
I know. You don't make it easy. You don't stay still ever.
Feel free to take her hair out, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
No, her hair is better under control in the ponytail.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of it. You do. You got a lot of hair under there.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd her chewy go? Oh, it's on the table.
It's on the table.
I'll hold the. If you get the chewy, we can kind of hold her head still by holding the chewy for her. You know what I mean? There we go. That's all close to your face. Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Just a little rub. Just a little rub.
Oh, Q-tip washing on your head. No, you're fine. Should have food to bribe you.
I know, baby. I know, baby. I know.
Sorry, sweetie.
Yeah, the only other option we have is I wait for everybody to.
Yeah, I know.
You and your shoes in the middle.
Dude.
I don't know where the
Boy,
camera
we're gonna
is.
have to start thinking about lunch for her.
Yeah.
Because she's
For
gonna
me
get
too,
upset.
I haven't.
There's a camera up there.
This is our daughter. She is very lovable and happy most of the time. She's nonverbal, so she's not going to be able to tell you
Yeah.
what's going on. And she's not super fond of being touched. So just let us know what you need to do.
Usually I can do it all myself. You know.
Like when she had her x-ray for her spine, it took 3 of us.
Yeah.
Plus she was strapped into a chair.
Yeah, when we did the X-ray, the fines for 4 of us. I'm talking about the full body scan.
The full body
Full
scan.
body scan took 4 of us, one on each extremity, and me holding her down and head and everything. This last time we had a chair, we had 3 of us. And another
chair
in a
that
chair that
came around under her
yep,
chest.
strapped up here and strapped to
And a
here.
strap around her
And then-
waist.
Yep, and then she had one arm, I had the other, and I had her head. She'll sit still right now, but if you try and restrain her here, she won't sit there. You know, there's
She'll
anytime you
get
try
mad
and
as soon as if we try and hold her down, even right now, she'd go back to her.
And unfortunately, the
Angry
biggest
stage.
thing she hates is someone messing with her hair, shampooing her hair, drying her hair, and doing anything with her head. She hates. So that's why we both were worried, knowing that was going to be. That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to go. You know, so.
She gets over it fast.
Yeah, she does. I mean, you know that she's going to scream like that. I mean, she screamed like we were stabbing her, and then 2 minutes later, she had a smile on her face. You know, I would say 99% of the people we talk to, including doctors, they have no idea. We're usually teaching them more about it than what they have any idea, because they can go online, do a quick little description, and say, all right, well, this is, you know, this is what it is. But until you talk to the parents and all that, there's a lot of changes. You know, that you can do a generalized statement online. You know, what the syndrome is, but each kid produces differently, you know, and each kid, I'd say they majority stay along the same line, so you're going to lose the ability to walk, you're going to lose the ability to talk, you're going to lose probably get a feeding tube and have seizures, you know, those are all going to happen. Timeline-wise, all of them are kind of different on what they do, so we're hoping that she's going to stay off a little bit, The only thing I don't like is this last day. Ever since we got diagnosis, you can see a lot of changes. Yeah, a lot of changes. You know, yeah, change is a better word.
I mean, the speech going away
Was a huge thing.
That's
Yeah.
a huge thing. I mean, all of a sudden she wasn't singing along with
Yeah.
things. She wasn't saying really anything. Like it happened.
I think we actually.
I don't
got
know if
the-
it happened subtly and we didn't notice
Yeah.
because there's always so much going on all the time in our house with the other kids and with her and with our move, and that all seemed to happen around the same
Same time. But I think
time that her speech kind of declined after we moved. down
we found
here?
out at the right time. Cock-a-doodle-dee! Vote for me! Mucopolysaccharidosis is what it's called, and that's MPS, and she has MPS 3A, which actually out of MPSs, there's only one MPS, which is Sanfilippo, that has 4 biparts, so all the rest there's MPS 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, something like that. There's like 7 of them altogether. They all basically do the same thing. It's just basically what enzyme you're missing. It causes the different mutation or different mutation in the enzyme that causes the different syndrome. It's built up with a heparin sulfate that will cause things like her tongue to get enlarged and her lips and get thicker. It takes away the abilities. They function normal till kids are born, and they are normal until about 2, maybe 3 years old, and some of them even longer. And then they plateau off. It's like having a perpetual 2-year-old. It's very, very difficult to watch a kid like this. It's also extremely rewarding and so much fun, because they really are happy children. Because all it takes is whoa, boo. She will jump up and scream and just have a blast. You go in a restaurant, she'll scream out with this big grin on her face. People turn and look, and they usually smile because they see that it's not an unhappy scream; it's a happy scream. The thing they usually look weird about is because I scream right after her. You know what I mean? I don't care. We're having a good time. Like I said, I've learned how to be extremely patient. Extremely patient, because it's not something you can't reprimand a kid with Sanfilippo. That's been the hard part for a lot of people to understand. Is you have to do everything for her. You don't reprimand her. You don't tell her no. You don't do this. You don't do it because it doesn't matter. That's the hard part. The other kids can learn, but they're having a tough enough time right now. My other two, my 13 and 15-year-old Paige and Heather, they're around, and they're basically a second parent to Fiona, which is phenomenal for me so I can work. So it's just an interesting life, but it's fun.
There's a lot of stuff you don't see, so you really wouldn't understand the whole realm of it unless you really lived it.
I have to stay up until my dad gets home, which is like midnight, 1 a.m., and then get up at 6 for school. As soon as I get home from school, I don't get to go out with friends like most of my other friends get to do. I come home and I watch Fiona, and we have to change her because she's not potty trained. Heather's too small to change her because Fiona's a lot stronger than her. Fiona has really strong legs. Like, she just kicks you when you're trying to change her. I've gotten kicked a bunch of times from changing her. We have to feed her and cut the pieces of her food really small, and we have to thicken her drinks because if we don't, it could give her pneumonia, and that's what a lot of kids pass away from with Sanfilippo.
She used to be able to feed herself, and she still can now and then. It's just she likes to take that fork and fling it around, so sometimes the food gets in her mouth and sometimes it gets in Lucy's. And then you don't want her to have that fork anymore. So we end up feeding her just for ease for her and for us, and knowing that what's getting in there. It's just so many of little things that have changed that you wouldn't think would change, but they do.
It's become a part of our world. If you have to be by her side at all times. Fiona's care has to be number one. Unfortunately, even Catriona's care comes second to Fiona's. It has to be. With Fiona, it can be life-threatening. It doesn't matter what she's doing, it can be life-threatening. So you have to stay on your toes with her at all times. I think someone should always be in her face, because she will eat anything.
My teacher's one step above being lazy. If I'm without her glasses on, she's only sitting here.
Every once in a while, that's how I used to tell when she'd come downstairs in the morning. if she ever came down the stairs before me, she'd usually play the piano, wake me up and I come running downstairs.
No, she'd wake me up.
Yeah,
and
she
I have to go eat.
But there have been times she got under without, but then that's when it got scary because she would find something. She would eat anything. It doesn't matter what it
She
was.
ate a glass.
She did ate a side of a glass off, and then sidewalk chalk. She was up sitting way up on here, and she got a hold of it, and it was everywhere. I came down, it was this thick all the way around her teeth. She had eaten
No,
like 4
I
sticks.
came down.
Yeah, she came up and got me, and it was, I mean, imagine chalk everywhere, pasted onto everything, all over the couch.
I didn't know
all over.
what it
I'm
was
like,
at first because we
I
had
had
like
no
food
idea how
dye
she
down.
did it.
I was like, is it food dye? And then I looked over and I was like,
She's got chalk in her hand.
chalk. My dad goes, just clean her up. I was like, no, you need to
No,
come
I
see
can't-
this.
Plus, she had a whole bunch in her mouth still, so I
It
had to
was
grab
so
and just start
bad.
trying to get as much as I can out, which is hard to get something out of her mouth because she just bites instantly as soon as you put it in. She doesn't know how to release. So she got my thumb good once and almost got my nail off. So
She's gotten all of us.
yeah, she's gotten each of us. But back then we used to call her tanks. Our mom thought we were making fun of her. So I didn't know. It was just that she would smash everything. It didn't matter what it was. She'd be over there eating a cord that was plugged into the wall, or over here fighting a glass, or taking this and throwing it on the floor. You know, just everywhere you can imagine going, just grabbing this, and then whatever your hand can reach, just grab it, pull it, throw it, this and that, and grab it wherever you can. It was insane.
It's frustrating because I feel like I can't give her everything that she needs. You know, if I didn't have the kidney issue, then I would be able, you know, I have to get help from the kids to change her diaper. And that's ridiculous. I mean, I'm an adult woman and she's an 8-year-old, 9-year-old child. I should be able to change her diaper.
You know, she's just a bundle of energy at all times, and even throughout the night. You know, there's not much sleeping with her, and she's super happy though. Like I said, most of the time, very happy kid. So you just stay happy with her and play. It's difficult. You know, it's difficult to make sure you're doing the right stuff for her. It's difficult to make sure that she's getting the right nutrients in. It's difficult to even keep up with her at times because you do get tired. You know, she doesn't get tired. It's like this to in bed, passed out maybe for a couple hours and then ready to go again. And it's constant motion, constant. It's just hard because you constantly have to be around her. And the reason why that chain's on the door right there is because of Fiona. It has nothing to do with trying to keep people out. It was the one day I went up and I went to the bathroom. Came back 2 minutes later, the front door was open. And I couldn't find Fiona. And I ran outside. I grabbed Catriona and Tyler. And they were supposed to sleep. It was in the morning. So I went out and Catriona went back to the pond here because she loves water. And there's a gator in there. So she went down there. Tyler ran that way. And I went running this way. And I found her about 7 houses down in someone's garage. She was poking around. You can yell her name. She doesn't respond. She doesn't know how to respond or anything like that. She'll never respond to her name. She's like, she'll walk until she runs into something. And then she'll turn to the open space, whichever left or right, whichever, and then go that way until she runs into something. Then she'll go that way. Imagine putting a ball in like a circular thing and just a weighted ball and just roll it. And whichever way it goes, it just keeps going around, you know, and just whipping around. That's Fiona. Just energy and motion at all times. You give her an open field, and she'll never think to turn around and look for you.
Ready, set, go!
Where are you going, Fee? Because I am out of here.
Yeah, where are you going? Where are you going?
As far as she go before Daddy chases.
Ready, ready.
He's out of here.
You have to be aware at all times, you know. But before was a lot worse, a lot harder to take care of her. You know, she was a lot more energetic, a lot faster. She ran everywhere. You know, now she walks everywhere. She hasn't run in a little while yet. When we put her on the trampoline when we first got it, she'd be in there for an hour. You know, now she could do about 15 minutes before, I don't know if it's kicking on seizure, but she starts foaming at the mouth and stuff like that. So, you know, there are things that she's slowed down.
I mean, even just to take a walk around the block for us now, where we used to do that with the dog, we'd all just, you know, out we go, and we'd try and talk Randy into coming with us, and half the time he'd say no, that was his, you know, he'd take a nap then. We'd all get out of the house and go take the dog for a walk. But now we've got to make sure we have the chair for Fiona, because if she decides she's not walking any further, you gotta have that there for her, because She's big. I mean, Randy can carry her for a ways, but none of the rest of us can. So we got to have her chair for her. Plus the dog. Plus we got to make sure we have something to entertain Fiona. So make sure you bring a phone with you. Give a Chewy or something for her to drink. Maybe a snack. I mean, it's a production just to go for a little walk, where we used to just make sure you had something to pick up after the dog. That was it. So it's a change in life. Everything has had to change.
Right
Good job, Fee.
Yeah, you know, Catriona made this.
Really? Oh. I already know she did. Little bell. Cute.
She's gonna bounce around all day. Come on, Fee. Woo! Oh, good. Look at this.
Put her in there right away, or she's walking?
No, I think she's walking right away.
Okay.
It won't hold you. You're okay. It won't hold you.
You're flying right on by, too. Hold on a second, babe. You gotta get your cape. You get your cape. Be authentic. Hey, Catriona, the keys are in there. What do you think of that? Oh. I think this house is not lit up, so we'll go to the... We
I thought we go down there.
I've already got them in my pockets on the inside here. Come on, Fiona. Hey, I'm gonna use put her in a chair for Boo! Look, it says boo. Hey, you did a great job tonight, didn't you? You did fantastic.
Tell Tyler to come get you.
So does Paige, so does
She is a happy kid. A happy kid. She loves to jump. She loves to play. She loves to smile. She loves to go in the water. You know, you just got to keep it. She's fun, yeah, all the time. You know, you look at her, and even if you're in a bad mood, it seems like she feeds on that and starts smiling at you. She's a very special kid, and she brings out the smiles in everybody in my family. And you know, the other kids I can say a lot more about because they can do more and go out and do stuff. Like that. She doesn't get to go out. She doesn't get to do any of that stuff. But she'll get on that trampoline and look at you with a smile that will melt you. You know, and then she will jump and play. And so, you know, everything's got to stay real positive. I want her only if she's only going to be around for a couple more years, it better be positive. You know, and at all times. Fiona will never know anger. She doesn't know anger. She doesn't know discontent. She doesn't know upset. She doesn't know any of these things. And thankfully she never will. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm glad she will never have to deal with. She just deal with play, happiness, fun. Why I wish I could do that, you know, all the time. But I essentially do. Why wouldn't I spend every moment? You know, sometimes I go pick her up from school early just because I want to. You know what I mean? I'm bored. I don't want to be without her. You know, I have thousands of things I could do around here, but if I'm with her, everything's pushed off to the side. I just always have that looming thing over my head, you know. But we'll figure that out later. You know, my days go by very quick.
Even today, I thought I had time today, but then we had a doctor's appointment today for Catriona. That bit up a little bit of the day. And therapist and all that stuff. On average, let's see, it's probably about 5 to 7.
Oh wow! Every week.
Yep. When you on a good week, we'll have 5 or 6. On a bad week, we'll have 11 to 12. You know, and I've had that many as not day, and that's just crazy. Then you just run from here to here to here, appointments all day. You get home at like 9 o'clock the next day. You go to the appointment. But that was more when we first started off. You know, with sorry, I'm one of you guys. But
It's still the summer.
yeah,
Like Jesus.
Captain America girl.
but
Peekaboo,
it was interesting.
I see
Yeah,
you.
the appointments, and you know, it's crazy. You know, that was right when we first found out about the diagnosis. So it was more of like hit every appointment, go everywhere, go to GI, go to neurology, go to this, go to everything you can think of, ENT, just get a basis of where she's at. Yeah, and that was what we did, and that was just crazy with the appointments. Crazy with the appointments, wasn't it? Wasn't it? What are you doing? You know, as soon as the camera gets on, she's like, "Nah, I'm done." With these diseases, putting them under anesthetic has been like the number 1 or number 2 killer of them, because they have compromised airways, compromised heart, compromised lungs. Like Fiona has a enlarged liver and a large spleen, you know, everything like that. So usually they putting them under isn't the problem; it's bringing them back. That's the problem, and a lot of them have died that way. So whenever you do appointments, you try very hard not to just do like anything you have to do on Fiona, you have to put her under to do. You want to check her eyes, put her under. Check her hearing, put her under. You know, check her anything, you have to put her under. You cannot do any tests on her while she's awake, or she will not cooperate. And you saw when we were trying to hold her to put electrodes on her head. You have to take 3 of us. You know, getting a bone scan took 4. You know, and she was screaming the whole time. You put her down, then put her up, and then strapping her to a chair and stuff like that. You know, it's not easy. Your heart is dying. You know, just even someone holding your daughter's head because you know she fucking hates it. You know she hates it. You know it's driving her insane. You know it's not hurting her, but it's driving me insane listening to it. You know, I make sure that she never makes that noise ever. You know, in my house, I pride myself on it. But whenever you do anything that's inside it, everything you have to put under. Catriona will coordinate it so they'll do 3 things at a time. And she was able to call all the insurances and call the people because you got to call the nurses and go through everything. Then call the nurses and make sure they're willing to do it. The eye doctor was the amazing one because I was in the waiting room and she was in a clinic across the street. And she must have gotten a text from the doctor that was in the operating room operating on her saying that he was just finishing up with his thing. Because I saw her run across the street with her bag and go in and take it and run through the door and go do her exam on Fiona and then run back to her clinic. So some people have just been outstanding. What are you gonna think, Heather? That's my life juice.
I want what you're having.
We are the dinosaurs. We make the earth. Wake up, Lori! Ready? Wake up, Lori! Wake up, Lori! Boom. Oh, make the earth fat. We make the earth fat, and we roar. Roar!
Good job, Fiona! Yay!
She's had a couple different ones that she's been.
Sheep.
Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Ready? Ah! Get it! Ah! Get the bird! Get the bird! Get the bird! Get it! Ah! Get the bird! Yeah!
hard. Yeah, that's right.
Here he is. Look.
Get it. Oh no. There you go. Nope, not in the mouth.
Oh no, there he is.
Oh no, ready? Oh! Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it.
Oh my
Get it, get it, get it, get it. Woo! And stay out.
Careful, careful. Oh, we saved it.
Ready?
Set, here comes. Catch.
Ready, set?
Ready? And go. Catch. Ready, set, go.
Got it.
Whee! Nope. Doesn't taste good.
Got it. You don't want to eat my fingers
It's
either.
not food.
My fingers aren't
Not
good
food.
either. There we go. There you go, beautiful. There you go.
All right, wait,
Is there a certain place? 119. Mwah. Yeah, you always like coming here, don't you? You complain, but you still like coming here. I can tell. Mwah.
It's the work.
Yeah, well, she's getting comfortable here. And it takes her a while to get comfortable, you know? So, yeah, me too. I'm loving it. What do you say? What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Come on, let's go this way. Ready?
Over here. Your hand.
Here we go.
Your hand. You gotta hold this, not your jacket.
There you go, Fiona. Ready?
You gotta get nice and close.
Ready? Oh, yep, I got it. Oh, look at that. Ready? Yummy.
Get up here.
Mmm.
Girl.
Mmm.
Let go.
Yeah, I got it. Hold it like
Yeah.
that. Good job. Say yummy. Say yummy. Say yummy. Yeah. What's he doing? Is he eating? He's like, I can get that last one. I know I can. Wait, look. Ready? Just a little bit more. I know. I see one more in there. There you go. Look at that. Hold on. Hold on. You say good job, huh? You say good job, huh? There's nothing left. Nothing left, big man. Nothing left. Let me say something. Thank you. All right.
Give him a punch.
Yeah, you don't get one. Say we're good, we're good, we're good. I think you fed me, we're good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm always the one that's nervous. I think I'm more nervous around a horse than she is.
She's not.
Being a sibling of a chronically ill child comes with its own unique sets of challenges, and there's a lot of support that they need, in addition to the support of the overall family and the patient as well. When I work with Fiona's sisters, the underlying goal is just providing support, giving them an open, safe place to explore their feelings and help facilitate that process and express what it's like to have a sibling who you know is going to have a shortened lifespan, and what it's like to have the day-to-day responsibilities of assisting to care for that sibling. I mean, these aren't problems that kids normally have to deal with. And so just giving them that safe space and allowing them to express it, allowing them to express the frustration they have when their friends get so worked up over little problems and they're going home knowing that their sister's going to die before she should. Those are really big feelings, and helping them to process that and validating how difficult it is to see your friends flipping out because they got their phone taken away and it's just not that big of a deal. I mean, how do you process that as a kid, knowing that your sister isn't going to get to grow up and go to prom and get married and give you nieces and nephews and do all the normal things? Those are all losses, and you grieve every loss along the way. And as she declines, as she speaks less or chokes more easily or starts to fall more frequently, you see each of those as a loss, and you're losing a piece of your sister slowly before your eyes, and it's excruciating. They have so much that they don't have control of. We don't grieve the same. We don't grieve at the same time. You know, some days are good and some days are bad. Some days things hit you really hard and some days you're doing okay with things. And their days don't all fall at the same time. The girls, you know, You talk about your normal teenage angst. You talk about the normal things that the teenagers face in today's society. And you throw a sibling with a chronic illness on there, and it just complicates everything exponentially. But then you throw mom's diagnosis on there. I don't know if people have a good understanding of what these girls do, of how much they help care for their mom and care for their sister, and how much of a caretaking role they have. Yet they still kind of have to be teenagers and have their lives and have their friends and do their homework and get to bed on time. But if dad is working late, they've got to stay up with Fiona until she goes to sleep, and that, sleep doesn't come easy to Fiona. So they've definitely got a lot going on.
Boo! Boo! Peekaboo! Peekaboo! I see you! Peekaboo! Peekaboo!
I show you that video of her saying "I see you." The therapist caught it at school. She was doing peekaboo, "I see you," and Fiona said "I see you."
This is recent.
Yeah,
you can
that
show.
was like 2 weeks ago.
Heather has the video on her phone.
Does she?
1. And then you hear Heather. 1, 2, 3. No, I just said 2, 3, and she goes.
I see you. That was her.
Hey, Fiona, what are you doing? What's that? Say something. She could talk. Here you go. You can have your baby back.
Dad said that we had to grow up really fast, and that me and Paige go through more than most people do in their life, and that we go through more than most adults ever do. You get sad knowing what's going to happen and how you don't want her to suffer and how everything's going to change in the future. But you get happy that she's still here and she's still running around being happy, messing around with you, still being a little sister.
We joke about things that people cry about. You know what I mean? It's kind of, because I say it all the time. I think actually I'm winning at this point because I got the last daddy yesterday. She got mommy the day before. So, we joke about who's going to get the last name.
What's the outsider's perspective of the Humphrey life for you, for people who don't know?
I know they feel really bad for me, because most of the time they'll want me to go out and do stuff, but I can't because I have to come home and just watch Fiona. Friday night, everyone goes out and does something, and I can't because I have to be home watching Fiona.
Paige is late almost every day to school. Is that her fault? No. Unfortunately, it's not. She doesn't go to bed till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning until I get home from work. She has to stay up with Fiona until I get home. And she is the one that gets me up because I'm up till 3, 4 in the morning, and then I get up at 6:30 to take her to school. I miss that. Half the time, she's kicking me 5 times trying to get me out of bed.
Don't get he's fine with that. As long as hold on.
Once we got hit with the Sanfilippo, we didn't really know how to react because we hadn't had to deal with something that severe before. It's real rough. It's a lot to take in. It's still even to this day, it's hard for me to even think about it. It still probably does. I feel like it still doesn't all just hit me that it's all just real because it's just so much happened within the last 4 years. It's just everything happened so quick. You didn't have time to react. It was just too quick that everything happened. All of a sudden, everything was great, and then all of a sudden, within a couple months, everything was 180 degrees. It was completely different life. Everything was different.
When something like this happens, everything halts. Everything stops. You don't know how to push forward. You don't know the grades are now down here. where they should be up here. You know, I mean, a lot of things just get shifted in your head of what was going on. So
I really didn't know what to do. I didn't really know how to react because I didn't really know what there was to do. Because I mean, what could I do if the doctors don't even know what to do? I felt helpless.
It feels like sometimes we get forgotten about or left out of things because we can't know about them yet. We're too young to know what this is actually going to do to her. Me and Paige don't even know what's actually going to like happen in the future. And I think we're just scared to figure out what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And being the next oldest, it feels like you're just getting forgotten about.
I keep close eye on my kids because it is a very bad situation, and kids can really look at things like that and really go a very opposite way. Luckily, I have been fortunate to have very good kids and very good, strong minds.
It's frustrating to not be able to do what you need for yourself, for your family, especially when you see that they're all in so much need. You know, I mean, not just Fiona, but the older kids, they need time to just get to be kids or just get to spend one-on-one time with us or with each other. I mean,
the thing is making the time, because so many times we're like, oh, I'm tired and I want to do this, and I really just don't want to do it, and I want to go sit on the couch. No, get up and do something. Why not? If I only have a couple years left.
A lot of the time, like, me and Heather will be in the room and we'll be trying to talk to my dad, but he'll end up playing with Fiona, and then we just think he's not listening to us, or he just doesn't care what we're saying, or something like that. Because it's really hard because Fiona needs all the attention. We understand it, it's just not easy. Because we're a kid and we want all the attention.
Luckily, like I said, my kids have been phenomenal about understanding that we have to spend the time with Fiona, you know, but they also have to understand that she won't get anything that they get. She'll never get to sleep over. She'll never get to go over to someone else's house. She'll never get a birthday party. She'll never get anything like that and cognitively understand any of it. So she doesn't get any of those things that you guys all take for granted. You can go for a bike ride around the block. She'll never get to do any of that. Sanfilippo is a terrible thing that will attack her and destroy us in the same process, unfortunately. This has slowed us down a ton. It has slowed us down and made us really enjoy things that we overlooked big time before. And anything, even her using a fork. I know it sucks. I know it's a shitty deal. And I know the realization of where I'm going to be. I know I'm going to lose my daughter. But I'm going to play, and I'm going to enjoy every moment I can with her. I'm going to have every detail I can, you know, and that's why my phone 64 gigabytes, and it is full now of all videos and photos and everything. You know, the only thing I got to make sure I do, it's all Fiona. None of my other kids. I don't get that much more. I don't get that time with my other daughters. You know, it's really hard to find that time. You know, when you know that Fiona needs to have someone with her, and when I come home, that's the only time the other girls get to go away. So now it's like I feel like a plague. I walk in the house and boom, it's like freaking cockroaches. They scatter into different rooms so they get their alone time. So most of the time it's just me and Fiona. It is fun. We have a blast and everything like that, but our life is crazy at all times. There's no more making plans. There's breaking plans. It's all we ever do. We don't ever go anywhere. We don't do anything. We don't make plans to do anything because if we do, something usually happens. You know, do I care? No, because my number one priority is my family. Or else I wouldn't have had a family. I mean, it's hard. You have to work through every moment of every day and get everything going in a certain way to make sure that you make all the doctor's appointments, make all of this, especially with me being an older driver. You got to make all the doctor's appointments, make everything match, make everything work. Now, on top of that, keep everybody happy. On top of that, mentally, you know you're losing it because little piece of you is dying every day. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that she doesn't stop breathing while she's sleeping. And that's another thing. You wake up in the morning and you don't hear that breathing. Imagine that thought going through your head. Did she have a seizure overnight? Did it take her last night? And you can't think that we wake up any morning, you get a half a second of bliss of waking up before you realize you think about your daughter's going to die.
Which one's Bob?
That.
Where?
That.
Yeah? You have something you want to tell me? Who's that? Who's that? Look up here. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
This last almost year, I have missed so much work. I'm out all the time. I go into work and then I have to leave within an hour. I go in there, or I just call them a half hour before my shift and be like, I can't come in. Things are just blowing out the house right now. And that's where I give them total credit. They have never, ever, ever once had anything but positive to say. Then I get out of work and yeah, I do still break down in the car a lot. It's just easier because if I don't, I break down in other places that I don't want to break down. I fake it every day at work. I smile and joke and play, and half the time I am crying inside. I just want to go in a cooler and sit down, and I do often, because I can't go anywhere else. There's so too many workers there. If I go in the freezer, no one goes in there. And then I come out and, how you doing? I can put on that fake happy smile. So I pick and choose my times. My car rides to and from work, when I'm in the car alone, that's a lot of places where I can just let loose a lot of stuff. And I'm very thankful that there's not a camera in my car. You know what I mean? Because it's a good place to let loose. And if I can get it all out in that 15, 20 minutes that I'm in the car, then I can function throughout the day. Because I did turn, and I started talking to people in more of an angry way. And this actually happened when Catriona went down. I couldn't speak for almost a month. I was angry. I saw people looking at me the way I'd never seen anybody look at me before. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't talk to people. I was just having too hard a time even reeling over it. But now that I've had months to think about it, I know that, yeah, the best way to respond is just talk about it. What else you do? Put a smile on your face, push forward. But I can't sit there and be depressed every day. What's the other option? Sit around and be depressed or angry? Go ahead and get angry and see how people react to you every time you go around anywhere. It just doesn't work. I don't have an option. I have a downed wife, a dying kid, 2 other kids at the house. One, living on his own, but we all are working together to make it better every day. The only thing we can do is, one therapist said it perfectly to girls. It's basically survival every day. That's all you can do. I could take off. What good would that do? You know what I mean? I don't want any other option. I like what I have. The only thing that I would change is I don't want my daughter to die.
Is there a cure for Sanfilippo syndrome?
There's a gene therapy that's in clinical trial right now. They've had 8 patients in the United States, and they started the first one in Spain. Spain is also doing it. It's in conjunction. It's the same biotech company. I don't know if it was easier for them to get patients in another country to be able to kind of speed things along, they're hoping. But I think they need 12 patients with good results to show that it's safe before they could do anything with it. I mean, that's the primary objective of the trial right now, is safety, with the secondary objectives of, improving the heparan sulfate level, decreasing liver size, decreasing spleen size. Those kind of things are like secondary.
And is she eligible? Is Fiona eligible?
She's not eligible for the clinical trial.
Why?
They said her disease process is too far along. We took her to Nationwide, which is where they're doing the trial, figuring it would be harder for them to say no to us in person. But they did. But at least, they were able to give us a reason right off the bat. That we weren't going home hoping for something that wasn't going to happen. Because she'd already lost her speech. They said that that she'd had too much damage already. And that's one of those things that makes me mad, unfairly mad. Like, why not her? But they also said because she was older, she was bigger, they could treat 2 2-year-olds for what they would have to give 1 8-year-old. just because of the size. And I know it takes time. It's just frustrating. The science part of me says, you know, they've got to have all these ducks line up to know that it's going to do something. And for drugs that I would take myself, I think, well, if there's side effects, I don't want to take them. If Fiona's going to die, I don't really care what the side effects are. If it's going to make her live longer. If her hair falls out, put hats on her. We don't care. Just make her live longer.
And unfortunately, like I said, there's just no fixing my situation. You know, the biggest thing I need now is time.
Yeah? You singing? Maybe. Good job. You're a great singer, huh? Yeah, good job. Oh. Ooh. Did you hit me? Oh. Ow! What are you doing? Ow! 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 What are you hitting me for? Stop hitting me! Ow!
I think they should screen for stuff like this, especially something like this where they develop normally. You know, for 3 years, you don't know anything's wrong. You think everything's fine.
It's something that's got to happen at some point in the process. I don't know if they'll even screen us because we're not having any more kids. So for us, it doesn't really matter. It's more likely that all the other kids will need to be tested because they have a 50% chance of being carriers, 25% chance that they're totally fine. We know that they obviously don't have it because they all develop normally. They're smart kids. They're not showing any kind of signs of developmental issues or anything else. So we know they're good, but they might be carriers. So they should get tested before they have kids to find out if they've got that lucky chance of having met just the right person who had just the same mutation. They're more likely to be able to treat it before you show any signs and symptoms of the disease, which is not going to happen unless for some reason you've been screened or you already have a child with it. There's some stem cell stuff that they can do with younger kids, but that's scary. We looked into that, and you need to do a couple weeks of chemo and basically kill their immune system before you can do the stem cell transplant. So you have to make them sick, and they don't understand why. And that treatment right there has a chance of killing them. You're increasing their chances, but at the same time, you might lose them right then and there, as opposed to having 10, 15 years.
Would it have been better if we had known ahead of time, or did we find out? To me, I think we found out at the exact right time that we should have. It was perfect. It was right before she started losing her abilities. So, because if she'd started losing her abilities and we didn't know, I would have been flipping out.
I hate even saying the word, an abortion. If you knew this was coming and that was an option, is that something you think you would have considered?
That's a tough question. That's a hard question, actually. That right now, I back then, okay, if I go back before Fiona was born and we got the test when she was in utero, then yeah, I probably would have gotten an abortion. Wouldn't have, because all I would have been thinking at that point is, death. She's going to be born to a horrible life of suffering and then die.
If I'm being 100% honest, I don't know what I would have done had I known. Why would you have something that you know is not going to survive? If you have the medical option to do something about it, then why wouldn't you? But at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily could have actually done it, had we known. Because I couldn't imagine not knowing Fiona. Even though she's not going to grow up, and she hasn't been your typical child, I love her with all my heart. I couldn't imagine not having her.
Right now, I would say no. No, I well worth the journey. It has been a blast all the way through, and we didn't know, so it's been fun. It's been hard. It's been very hard, And 2 years ago, we kept saying all the time, when, how are we going to get this under control? When is she going to slow down? How are we going to get her to do this? How are we going to get it? And now I would kill to have any of that back. I would kill to have any of it, any of that running around, tearing through everything, doing all that stuff. Because now she's slowed down a lot. Ask me again in 5 more years, or when it's over. I don't know how bad it's going to get. I still think I'll still be saying no. I wouldn't. Because she has been a joy in my heart. She has completed my heart all the way through. That's why it's killing me now. You know what I mean? Because a little bit of that's going away. But what are you going to do? Right now, I'd say well worth the journey. It has been a ball all the way through, and she has opened my eyes to a whole new world. People often look at the purpose of life as being money, toys, getting stuff. Nothing you can take with you.
What do you think the purpose in life is?
Hopefully to make things better, that you can leave the world a little better than it was before you got here.
I don't really know what the purpose is at this point. I'm really confused on it. I don't really know. I really have a solid answer.
Fun. In my opinion, fun. Why not? We're all put on this earth to live and die. There's no question about that. Everybody's going to die. It depends on what you do when you're here. You can look at the bad aspects, look at how much money you're going to have, how much do you need, what do you need, this and that. Fun. Enjoy your time. You're only here once. Have a great time with it.
Maybe we're the ones who will talk to just the right person, who will be able to figure out the cure.
If I was to ask you to pin a purpose to Fiona's life, what would you say Fiona's purpose is? What is she here to do?
Fiona's definitely got a purpose. She's made, I think, myself a better person. I'm more aware of what other people are going through. I have more empathy. I think more, instead of just being quick to think, what a bitch, something like that. It's, what are they going through in their life that is making them be like this right now?
I think her purpose was definitely brought us a lot of joy, brought us a lot of happiness, and I think it made us grow up a lot and realize more of what's happening in the world and everything, I guess.
She doesn't really have a purpose in life. She doesn't know enough to have a purpose in life. But her purpose in life is to bring the joy to my family. And that's what we do. We make it as best we can and try and play as best we can, and feed off of her joy.
Hopefully, our purpose is going to be helping to find a cure for this. And that is the reason that our family has been given this gift.
It took her speech. It will take her ability to walk. We got braces on her feet now, and it's more of, we won't take her, but she'll forget how to do it. She's forgetting how to talk. She's forgetting how to eat now. She's not chewing it really at all anymore. She only does a bite here and there, but for the most part, she's roll around your tongue. So we've got to keep everything small. We have to do. We'll probably have to go to liquids soon, or mush soon, and then liquids. And then she will lose the ability to feed, and then we'll have to put a G tube in and do the feeding tube like that. Then it will lose the ability to walk. Could go blind. She's already got cataracts in her eyes. She'll lose all the abilities to do everything. Hopefully, she won't lose. She'll lose all her cognitive ability. We know that, But we're hoping that she'll maintain her smile and do all that as long as we can. And then, unfortunately, it's the early teens usually is what by the time they pass. Most of the kids will go either anesthetic or pneumonia. The fluid just end up building up in the lungs. There's nothing they can do about it, and it's horrible to even think about, because you do think about it. Would it be better to go through that, or better have a seizure take them in the middle of the night. But either way, then you start thinking, how shitty is that? I'm thinking about how the best way for my daughter to die.
What? Yeah? Oh, okay. You gonna put your sunglasses on? Hey, don't you look cool, huh? Yeah. Is that yummy?
I don't know what's going to happen when it's over. I really don't. I don't. I know it's going to screw me up. I know, and I talk about psychiatry or counseling or something like that. Right now, it'd be a waste of time. And that's all I'd be thinking when I'm in there. I could be doing this, and I could be doing that, and I could be doing this with Fiona, or I could be doing that. It'd be a waste of time, So, to me, it's when I lose her, it's going to be bad. I'll disappear for a while. As simple as that. However long it is, I have no idea, and I'm hoping it's not too long. I don't know. It all depends on how bad it hits me, and it's not going to be an easy thing to try and get over, and I won't ever get over it. But I can't see. I'll probably be still waiting table to crack for her. I love my life. I wouldn't have it any other way, with the exception of my daughter not dying. Other than that, keep it exactly the same. I will have my other kids. I'll have my wife. You know what I mean? We'll move on the best we can, but I don't see how I'll ever forget or ever, not forget, but ever be able to move past a certain point.
It's not going to get better. I know it's going to get worse. It kind of scares me because I don't know how I'm going to react when it gets worse.
Sometimes hard because I know what's coming for her. I would say it's okay, but it's not.
Fake it. Fake it if you have to. I don't care. Fake it. Go in, smile, and have a good time. You know what I mean? If you have to fake it, fake it. And even just for the simple fact that it will make it better for you. It will. Right now, I try very hard not to think about it. I just play every day. Throw everything else out every day. Start fresh every day. I break it up in intervals about 10, 15 minutes. I figure if I can go through 10, 15 minutes, have that great time, keep it real positive. If something happens in that 15 minutes, then throw that 15 minutes away and move on to the next. You know what I mean? Just keep going. It gets easier. It gets a lot easier. It's just a part of life. And you're going to have plenty of parts of life that are terrible. And it all depends on what you bring yourself up to be afterwards. I'm having a blast right now. And I am, because Fiona's still functioning very well.
What are you laughing at?
I'm excited because I'm hoping this will spread awareness for Fiona and actually get people to realize what it is.
Ever since I got the diagnosis, it is now part of my life. And I don't think that will change till the day I die. I don't see how it would. I'm just going to try. I'm hoping that we can make it better. Get that cure out there that they're talking about. That would be phenomenal. And when I lose my daughter, it's not going to be. It's not going to change. It's still going to be part of my life. I don't have an option there to make it, better for other families. Spread awareness, do everything I can. Why not? We want you to ask questions. Most people never have to deal with something like this.
She will continue to affect us even after she's gone. I mean, the Sanfilippo fight is now our fight. And until there is a cure and screening so that families don't have to go through what we're going through, it's going to be part of our lives. We're going to be fighting for an end to this for the other families if we can't fix it for our own. All I want to be able to do is help make it better for my kids. And I can't.
I gotta cut through.
All right.
Sorry, I gotta go to work.
Well, say goodbye on camera.
Goodbye.
Bye, I love you.
Love you.
It's her tooth. That's why she's got a feet temperature. I'm pretty sure she's all swollen.
Do we have?
I don't know. If we don't, you gotta call me. I'll come home from work. I'll just pick it up on the way home.
Okay.
Or you could try calling Tyler, but he's probably not gonna get over here in time.
Okay.
So if it comes down, just call me.
What are they doing? What are they doing? Are you sure? That's right. You say yes, sister.
Look at mommy.
Look at what?
Look at the ball. My mommy did the ball.
Are you sure?
Reggie! Reggie, come on, Reggie!
All right.
Reggie!
That's right.
Uh-oh! 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 There's no story.
That's right.
Look at the mommy. My mommy's getting the... Look at this. Look at the... Look at the doggy.
That's right. Which doggy?
Look!
What?
Look at the detector. Ooh! This... Look! Look! Mommy! 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 Look!
Look.
Wow!
Say bye.
Wow!